Hey everybody, and welcome back to Legendary Language Learner. This is the Legendary Interviews series, and I'm here today with Hang. Hang is an artist who is from Son La, Vietnam, and I found her online through Etsy, and I really liked her artwork, and I asked her if she would be willing to do some pieces for me, and since then she has done several pieces of artwork for this heading into language land card game, and they are absolutely phenomenal. Her style really reminds me of a solid comic book style, great choices in terms of composition, scene composition, and the colors. I just really like how she does scenery and buildings. Her style looks so iconic. So I wanted to have her on here today so we could talk about her language experiences, but also her artwork. And we're going to show you some of her artwork photos and how they looked on the final game cards. I actually have some of the game cards here, but we'll show you a close-up later. So Hang, thank you so much for coming on. And at first, could you tell us a little bit about where you come from and what languages you know, and how did you learn languages growing up?
Hello, Matt. Thank you for giving me a chance to your incredible work, a chance to work on a language, the
Sure.
legend of language. Sorry, sorry. Yeah,
No problem.
I'm from Sơn La, Vietnam, and I'm an ethnic girl. Sorry,
Hi.
can you?
Yes, you are an ethnic, is it ethnic minority Thai people, or that's a majority or minority ethnic group?
We are minority
Mhm,
ethnic people in northwest of Vietnam. We
mhm,
have only over 1 billion people
mhm,
living in here, but
mhm,
it's not including that another Thai people or other countries.
mhm,
We are a great community that start from India to Vietnam and
mhm.
Thailand.
So this group, Thai people, is there different kinds of Thai people?
Yeah, a little bit different, but basically we can understand each other language.
Mhm.
I can speak frequently, but if I travel to another region of Thai, I can talk to them with no difficult.
Yeah, I like what you said there. You called it the Thai region. So Thai being the language of the Thai people. If you go anywhere, even to other
Yeah,
countries, you can communicate with this type of people who know this language. So like you said, Lao and maybe where Thailand and what about Yunnan? Can you talk to people in Yunnan?
yeah, of course.
Mm,
And my ancient belief that my ancestor it become we they have we have moved from Yunnan to Vietnam in the past
mhm, mhm. So for
in
those
the
of you, maybe
Tang dynasty. Yeah,
which dynasty?
Tang
Tang Dynasty.
dynasty.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, if for those who are listening and maybe you don't know, Yunnan is a far southwest province in China. So Heng is saying that her ancestors come from that province in China during the Tang Dynasty. So you can speak Thai, and what other languages can you speak?
yeah. I mainly using my national language is Vietnamese in the day in the daily work or study. But
Okay.
I have learned English from my childhood to it's my education that we have to learn English too.
Mhm.
But I'm not a good student.
Oh, I think your English is very good. I expected you would only speak Vietnamese today, but your English is quite good, so we can use English. Also, I want to tell the people not to be confused about Thai language because you don't mean Thai, the language of Thailand. This is a different Thai, right?
Yeah, so many Thais, Thai Lu, Thai Dam, and I am Thai Dam. And they
Yeah.
also have Thai Dang. And I don't know, this all over hundreds of Thai
Yeah,
around
so I
our.
think a lot of Western people, if they hear Thai, they will think Thai language, Thailand, but we don't mean that language. So you can speak
Yeah.
Thai, which is your ethnic language in Vietnam, and that is a language that has a region that covers different countries. And you can speak Vietnamese and English. Is there any other languages you know or are interested to learn?
Um, I I do learning to Chinese.
Oh,
In
Chinese.
the past, when I was 16 or 17, I can't remember, but I gave up because the Chinese is easy to say, but it's hard, so hard in the letters
Hard to write,
and the
yes.
grammar. Yes, so hard to. I can't remember.
Yeah, I I never write the Hanzi by hand. I just type using letters. I can't
Yeah.
remember how to write characters. I don't really even try. That's very hard. Cool. So it's great to have such a colorful language learner coming on the channel here, talking about some languages we never talked about on my channel. That's very interesting. And now to talk about art. When did you start to practice art, and why do you like art so much?
Um, I came to art since I was in high school. That is the time I so confused about my future because I don't have any passion in uh any job I could do later. So it's just by chance I passed by a art class and I'm very interesting. And so I'm fine. I find my way to try to learn by myself at home first. Then I find a good teacher, and then I try my best to pass to to, to, to join a university in
Mhm.
Hanoi. That's why I start learning art in there.
So you studied art at a university in Hanoi?
Yeah. And
Cool.
after graduate, I have uh, uh, some some years to work in game industry.
Mhm. Well, I think it's fantastic that you were able to find a passion and follow it and study it in university. And you even worked for a game company later. I feel so lucky because I didn't know you worked for a game company. I just saw artwork on Etsy and I thought I would love that for my game. And you already had experience working on games. So accidentally, I hired someone who is a game illustrator. So I'm very lucky.
Uh, Actually, it's game. Working in game industry is not my passion too.
Mhm.
I don't know why. Just I just graduated from university and can't find my way on work. Yeah, I'm have working in game in animation, and
Mhm.
I just don't love it. So I quit job
But
and try my best to be a book illustrator, but I haven't succeeded yet.
a what illustrator?
Book
Oh,
illustrator. Yeah,
okay.
I'm loving
So
create story, but I have to quit job to focus on it because I haven't find my right way to work on it.
so you love to do art, you know that definitely, but you
Yeah.
didn't really like doing art for the game industry.
I at first I think the work in game is so cool.
Mhm.
Creating game is so cool.
Mhm.
And when I work on the game industry, then I found it's not cool at all.
So like the job is too hard, too stressful, not fun.
Yeah, just I think my problem is for myself because it's hard to work in group in
Yeah.
company where you have your own permission, like just drawing stuff,
Hmm.
or I can, or only that you can you can even have your own idea because you have a lead artist who
Hmm.
doing concept and you just follow him, even
Hmm.
in colors or
Yeah.
style they decide. Oh, and I just follow him, and
Yeah.
I don't have a passion to do it.
Yeah, I can totally understand how you feel. You don't have creative freedom there. You just, it's like a business and you have to follow the leaders of it.
Yeah.
I chatted with a friend in China who works for a game company, and he said similar things. His dream was to work on games, but he found, wow, the life in the company doing that job is actually, it lacks creative freedom and fun. It's more like joining any company or business and just working all the time. I even considered to join a game company in China, but some of the work hours are crazy. Like they expect you to work even on the weekends. Maybe you get 1 or 2 days off per month, but working all the time, and
Yeah.
just maybe they treat you just like a worker or like a slave, and like you said, just follow
Yeah.
the goal for the game. You just have to do your little part and you're not
We
free to.
calling that Asian working culture.
Yeah.
So stressed, so stressed and no freedom.
Yeah. Well, that's very interesting that you are trying to find your own way and do your own thing and maybe become an illustrator for books. I believe you can do that. And I'm considering to get illustrations for my own books too. In the future, I might like to make a book that supports the game or that goes together. And I might like to get
Yeah.
artwork for that. So I've
Yeah.
even considered children's stories, doing some children's stories. So maybe we can work together on that in the future.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, I love
There will,
storybooks. I love storybooks and children's books. I have collected many in my home. Um, what can you talk about what type of artwork you like to do the most, and maybe about some famous artists who inspire you?
um, this, can I say about my periods? Because at this time I really addicted to some illustrator, children book illustrator famous, that they are very cute and their artwork is so simple.
Mhm.
But in the past, when I still work in game industry, I like another artists, like some artists from Riot, and you know him, Xin Chin. Xin Chin, he from Taiwan or someone else. I can't remember. I had to research it.
Mhm.
Some China artists, they are incredible. But the game art style is very different to the illustrator,
Mhm.
especially children illustrator.
Mhm.
So what should I talk about them?
Yeah, it seems I know what you mean with the children's illustration and the children's books. Every book seems to have a very special, unique style. When I look through
Mm,
my children's books that I have here, and now I share them to my daughter, they're all so special. I really admire the artists. So you mentioned a name just now, but I didn't hear it clearly. Can you share to us some names of the artists you like?
yeah, this time I like Zhao Dao. She
Zhao
is
Dao.
an illustrator from China.
Mhm. Zhao Dao.
Zhao Dao. I don't know that I can pronounce her name good, and an Hong Kong artist. She is Victor Nai. So I will send you my words later.
Yeah, we'll put it in the text later of the YouTube video so people can find it, so we can see
Yeah.
how to spell. And I like what you said about, there's different periods. So in different times of your life, you were very interested in different people and different styles. And what is the style that you like right now? What's your favorite thing to look at and study?
I don't know how to explain. This the style I work for you is what I can do.
Uh-huh.
And the style I like the most is what I'm still learning too. I'm still in my own style. I don't have any style. That's my difficult.
And on Etsy, it seems like you do a lot of fantasy work. You like the
Yeah.
fantasy genre,
Yeah.
magical things, magical animals, creatures, scenes. Did you ever do any other genres, like maybe sci-fi, science fiction, or something like that?
I often do something romantic.
Okay,
So
romantic.
sci-fi I haven't do.
Yeah,
I haven't
cool.
drawn before. I just draw it because of work, but I
Mm,
don't have any impression.
I see, I see. And how about what kinds of materials and tools and programs do you like to work with?
I'm oftenly use Photoshop.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, this is for my work because my work often very large, so
Yeah.
I just to build my own PC and using Photoshop is for work, and for Illustrator I using iPad, and at my free time to help me reduce stress I often oil oil painting,
Oil
doing oil
painting.
painting. Yes.
Your workstation there, your desk looks very amazing. The screens are so big, and I never saw a screen like this. It looks very tall. What is that?
Uh, it's just a normal screen, but I rotate it.
Wow, that's really cool. I've never seen that before. So you can
Yeah,
turn it however you like.
um,
You can turn it.
it is main monitor to work, and here is
Mhm.
for reference, and
Ah,
another window for
so you
another
can put
tool.
your reference photo up there and then do your work on the other one. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So cool. So how did you feel when I asked you to work on this card game and do something for me that fits the card game template? Did you say, oh gosh, game design again? I left the company. I don't want to do this anymore.
Not at all. I'm very interesting because your script you send me is interesting, and I'm really want to work in. I often don't don't took any job related to game or something because I know that it's stress. But it depend on script. If I love it, I will work on it.
Cool. Yeah, some of the artists that I'm working with, they all said that. They love my descriptions that I send to them because I already wrote a 10,000 word story before I started the game because I wanted to have some ideas about characters and places. So I just send that to the artists. And I can see you really understand the genre that I give to you, like that other one. We're not going to show this one today, but that Wild West town, I said I want it to look kind of like the Wild Wild West in America. And you knew how that should look, and you set it up perfectly. So you really have a good understanding of different styles and different scenes. Let's look at the first one. I think this is the first one that you ever did for me. The first one is like a canyon, the Dragonspine Canyon, I called it in my story. Can you see the screen? Can you see that?
Yeah, I can see.
Okay. So For you, for the people who are watching, I want you to know that I contacted Hang and I said, I want to have a canyon that is very, curvy and rocky and like a desert. And she sent this back to me, and this is almost exactly what I had in mind. I even said there would be some bones in there, like from a dragon. And she sent me back something that was almost exactly what I had in mind. I didn't know how she could do it. Even the path is going up and to the right. I just love that perspective. And I asked her to change one thing. I said, I don't want it so smooth. I want it to be more sharp. And then she changed it to like this, and it was perfect. And I said, oh, that's it. You can go ahead. You can finish it. So Hang, can you tell us about how did you do this and what were you thinking?
Yeah, the first sketch I sent you, I have find many reference from Grand Canyon and other artists' concept about the deserts. And the first I sent you is a little bit curved
Yeah,
because I think that they're so windy in the desert that maybe green all the stone, so I draw that. But when you say you want it curved, so it's easier to work. I just sharpen them and put more rocks on them. And
yeah, and I think there's certainly different types of canyons. I'm sure some are very smooth and some are very rocky and sharp. So that's really cool that you found some reference photos from the Grand Canyon. And here's the finished one. I'm curious to ask you, to go from this part to this part, does that take a lot of time?
actually, I have a lot of time to think about adding more detail because I have to add text on first and decided wherever I will show more detail to the people can focus on it. So I don't know, I have fixed a lot and I decide to put more dark area on it, but in the dark we still have detail.
Yes, in the dark we can still see a lot of detail, and those rocks look so cool. I just love it. And this is how the game card looks with the text on it. And the game is not totally finished yet. I'm still testing it and I'm still changing some words, but this is how it looks. And I love that the path goes up and away from the words. So kind of where we focus our eye is we want to go over to there. So I think the words on the left and the path going up to the right look so cool. So this is the Dragonspine card. And now let's go to look at the next one, which was kind of like a cityscape. Let's call it a cityscape that showed a lot of architecture.
Yeah.
So there's a city in my story and in the game called Embertell, and it's a very militaristic city. They have a lot of military power and they're very tough society, a very cruel society. And I have some description of how it looks in the story and on a map. So I sent some ideas to Hang. And then Hang was very nice because she gave me 2 ideas for sketches, different perspective, this one and this one. And I actually liked them both, but I felt like I wanted to zoom out and see more of the city and make it seem like the city is very big and we are very small. So after that, Hang showed me something like this. So can you tell us, Hang, about your first steps into this piece? How are you feeling? What did you think about?
The first of all, when I work on Embertell, I think that will be a huge, huge and complicated structure because it's as your description as a castle or something like that. Yeah. So it's in the dark, and so I think I should put more detail to make it look so I don't know, so wait a minute. So great and a little bit scary, like a symbol of power. So make a too sketchy, but at this time I still can't believe what the final could go out. Yeah. So
yeah, we were still experimenting and sharing some ideas back and forth, and we decided put some big statue there and then add some little people so we can really feel that it's very big. And you're right, it does look very scary, and I think no one would like to go inside there. It seems scary and dangerous, very dark, and with the fire. So now let's see it with some more detail added. And I love this idea to show a fire inside the building. It's very scary. It's like a place where maybe they would have some ceremony, or I don't know, kill some people, make a sacrifice. And we even added a little fire and light up here by the angel. So it's kind of like the fire rises up to the angel on the top. Very cool. So, and there's so much detail. So how did you feel at this time?
it made me feel so difficult because everything is the dark and the fire is hard to how to draw it out. The contrast between the dark and the light. And I feel I still didn't put enough detail on it. If I can redraw it, I will redraw it better. I think so. I'm not satisfied with it.
I am. You know, I think, and I'm not a very great or talented artist. I rarely do art, but I think as creative people, we will always think there is more that we can do. You know, we will always think, oh, I wish I could add a little more detail here. I could do this. I wish I did. It's hard to sometimes to say it's done. We may believe we always can change something or do more. I think it is quite good as it is. I'm very happy with it. And you know, if the left side with the walls are more simple, I think that helps because look, now, boom, we have the text on the left side on this wall. And again, the perspective, the focus point, I think people will look to that fire and to the door, and the details on that right side are quite enough. And I actually added some words onto your flags because this is some words from the story. I added them right there and right there. So I added a little something. But it looks fantastic, and I think it must be so hard to do it in the dark like this and lighting up certain areas. We can see a little firelight on the walls, and like here on the pillars, on the side of the pillars here, and some light inside the windows. Yeah, that's really, even right here, you added some little lights right along there, you know? That is really impressive. And to think about where the light comes from and where it's going, that's a lot to think about. So thank you for the work on that one. And let's show the people one more. And that is a magical staff, the Earthshaker staff. So this one was a little different and a little bit special because I asked you to create, to show 3 scenes. In the first scene, the magical staff destroys the land, and then later the land regrows, the land and the plants come back. Did you ever do something like that before?
Actually, I have do some stuff.
Yeah, I
We
believe
call,
for the animation, right? You may have to show motion, right?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite hilarious to when I'm working on it.
Yeah.
And this is the piece that I have the work on it so much time. It's about a month, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Let's show
First,
people so they can understand what you have done. Let me show all 3. So this will be the first, and then the second, and then the third. So
yeah.
that's very tricky because we have to know where's all the trees. How did the trees look? The trees looked damaged and they are bent away. And then later, the grass comes back and the trees grow back, but the trees, they stay in a similar position, but they grow back their leaves. So that is a lot of extra work. So how did you do it? And wow, 1 month. How did you do this? What was your process? What was your thinking?
The first when I read the script and saw your sketches, I thought that Earthshaker staff is an item that could the first it destroy all the nature, then the light from the staff is stronger and it healing the forest around them. So the first version I sent you, I think I did wrong with the light on the staff from nothing to be shiner. Then you send me a feedback mail and I did it wrong.
Well, when I think about your idea, I think it can make sense both ways. Maybe this is just my personal feeling, how I want it. Your way is a good idea too. So what she's talking about, guys, is at first, she made the powerful light happen at the end to regrow the land. But I said, I think I would like it at the beginning to show the destruction. I want the light to come out at this point. But I see what you mean now, and I think either way could be okay. But unfortunately for you, because I want it this way, you must change something. I know it must be extra work and waste your time. So I'm sorry about that.
And just an experiment on work. I think so.
So
Remind
there's
me
that
to
one.
read the mail carefully.
Oh, it's okay. I think we are both very flexible, actually. It's very easy to work with you, and I see you always want to satisfy the customer. So I think that's very important, and I will highly recommend you to other people that I know in my audience here on YouTube because you're very flexible and happy to communicate. So in the first one, we see the destruction. The second one, the plants are growing back, and the final one, it's all come back together. And this is the game card. This is how it looks here. So again, we put the staff on the right to make room for the game text. And this game, it's a language learning card game. So if you want to use this card, you have to talk about, for example, different seasons or different types of disasters, like maybe a earthquake or typhoon or a flood, or you have to talk about different kinds of gemstones because this staff has the magical stones in it. So in the game, people will roll a dice and they have to talk about these topics in order to use the staff and fight in the game. But those are all the artworks we're going to show you today. Is there anything more you wanted to say about them, Hang?
I don't have any. I don't know. I always regret after doing an artwork, but maybe this time I work on it so long, so I'm quite satisfied with it.
Cool. So this one, no regrets.
Yeah.
That's great.
Because I have fixed it many times.
Uh-huh. I kind of know how you feel, and I want to tell you, don't worry about, you know, those pieces. When I look back on all the games that I made, I've been making games since 2016. And every time I look back, I see something that I wish I did better. It's like curse.
All the time.
I always think that way. So be kind to yourself, and you're always getting better with every piece that you do. You can't always look back and have those regrets. Next question, how can people contact you or find you online? Where should they go?
People can find me on Instagram, DeviantArt and ArtStation. I don't know how they can find me, but the customer come to me and they often say that they found me on Etsy and ArtStation.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think a lot of people, they know Etsy and they go to Etsy for different handmade things, and then they find artists in there. I think a lot of people who don't really know art, they may want to buy some art, but they don't know like DeviantArt and those kinds of places because they don't really know where did the artists prefer to put their things. And I haven't heard of ArtStation. I've heard of DeviantArt, but I didn't know ArtStation.
Yeah,
but
often from I heard that Clean often is the game company found artists on ArtStation because they build their portfolio on it so clearly and easy to find.
Oh, okay. So great. Instagram, DeviantArt, ArtStation, Etsy, and I will get those links from you later and I'll put them down below. So guys, you can look down below the video and follow the links there. And one final question, Hang, for you. What advice, you know, you have an amazing story because you said at first you were not sure what you really want to do. You're trying to find your way. And then you saw the art class and you said, oh, that looks interesting. I want to try that. And then later you went to university to study that. You worked in a game company. And then after a few years, you thought, I don't really like this. Maybe that's not for me. And you went back to your hometown, but you know you love art and you want to find your own way. You are very brave and very bold to try to find your own way. What advice will you give to new artists or beginning artists? Maybe they feel like you and maybe they are younger. What will you say to them?
As my experiments, I think just it's not just because you find your passion, it's all about experiment too. So learning is very important, but the best way to find your passion and know your way is working from this company to that company to find how your work is good or bad, and then you decide to your own. As my friend work on a game industry and they really love it and they decide to working on it, but not for me. It's
Uh-huh.
all about the time, experiment, and I don't know, some acquaintance
Mhm. Mhm.
where you can your friend and co-worker can help you find out.
Mhm. So try different types of jobs in the industry, experiment, get to know people,
Yeah,
and then try to do your own thing,
yeah,
something like that.
yeah. I think friend is very important. They can share your experiment,
Uh,
your work style, and your workflow, and anything
mhm.
that you can learn from.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. So
Yeah,
different friends that you can share ideas with, share your work process with, get ideas, and they can encourage you and support you to keep going, right?
yeah, yeah.
That's
They
really
help
neat.
me a lot in my life, and I think they are good now.
Oh, cool.
And me too,
Yeah.
because the art is very huge. It's
Mm,
not just work on it on illustration or just work in game or animation. That's not enough, and
mhm,
you don't have time to try it all.
mhm.
So having lots of friends and join the art contest, or hang out and drawing with them is an important thing that could increase your skill and your knowledge.
That's really a great point. I love that. I think about something similar sometimes, which is if I always focus on working on my game and I spend so much time on that, after many months, I get burnt out, I get tired, and the rest of my life is falling apart. So I know I need to keep my friends, keep my family, keep my health, do some exercise, do other things, and that whole picture of life can support me to work on the games for many years. So I have to keep a balance, and I need my friends to support me and yeah, work together. It's much bigger than just the job, like you said. It's much bigger than that. We have to keep more things in mind. Well, I'm happy to have you now as a new friend. Great to meet you and to get to know you through this interview. And I expect we'll be doing more cards together in the future and maybe even a storybook or a children's storybook. But Hang, thank you so much for coming on. And that's the end of today's video. Guys, if you're watching, please like and subscribe and check out Hang's work by following the links below. Thank you so much, Hang.
Yeah, thank you so much, Matt.
You're
You give
welcome.
me this opportunity.
You're welcome. Bye-bye for now.
Yeah, see you again.